the cars don't have guns. Morning everybody, I'm Leafanic, Swishy Wishy, and today we've got the final part of the Cars 3 Parter. There's the posters. Oh, I can't believe this is almost over. Okay. Cars 3. In my head before I watched this film, in my head for some reason I had it down as another shithole, just not as bad as Cars 2. But upon watching it, I've realized it's actually not a shithole, and I'm gonna get into that. So, let's talk about some funny facts about this film. There's no Cars 2 characters, so there's no Finn McMissile, there's no Holly Shiftwell, there's no Sir Miles Axelrod, there's nothing, nothing. Why? They've scrubbed Cars 2 completely. Anyway, we're back, obviously, in Radiator Springs, and we're back with racing. There's actually racing, you know, racing, not cars with fucking guns and shit and people trying to assassinate Lightning McQueen. No, racing. So the opening scene is actually, it rivals the opening scene I raved on about of the first film, and that is very pink lighting. My wallpaper is really, well, let's try to do this. White light. That is so uneven. Okay, we're just gonna move on. Ignore the light on my face. I'm lost. Alright, back. The opening scene of this film actually rivals that of the first one. It's not, it just rivals. The first one is still better, but this opening scene actually is good. I mean, it's obviously a racing opening scene, not Finn McMissile being a spy on an oil rig. So, anything's better than that. And anything's better than that. Anything's better than that. Hi. Alright. I got lost in a Cars 2 trance. The opening scene is perfect. It's obviously like McQueen with Bobby Swift and Carl Weathers, who is the nephew, not son, he's the nephew of Strip Weathers. Let me double check. He's not the son, is he? Carl Weathers. He is the nephew of Strip Weathers. So, he is the nephew of Strip Weathers. He's a top racer alongside McQueen. And you get this awesome montage of Lightning, Bobby Swift, who's like a Chick Hicks, but actually, you know, nicer than Chick Hicks. You know, he's always third. That's my point. And Carl Weathers battling it out, boom, 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 you know. Bish bash bosh, you know, they're finding it out at the start, you know. Larry McQueen takes a win, Kyle takes the win, there's some antics between them. I'm sure this is all on the screen right now. And we get to so beautiful opening scene, obviously, just racing. That's the main thing. That's the main getaway here. There's racing. And then we get to the race where it seems like McQueen's gonna cruise to a victory, but all of a sudden this futuristic looking car just cuts its way through the entire field and overtakes the living shit out of Lightning McQueen and wins the race. And we find out that this man, this black and purple car, is Jackson Storm. He will be the antagonist of this film. Jackson Storm. He is the cream of the crop of the next generation of racers, and his blast onto the scene with that win is the reason that a lot of the field starts getting replaced by more next generation racers, and the more races go by, obviously Lightning's trying his best, but he's not winning anymore. It's always Jackson Storm. We make it to the point where even Kyle Weathers has retired and Bobby's been replaced, and basically the entire field, barring Lightning McQueen, are these next generation racers. And Lightning McQueen ends up having his worst season today, and we make it to the scene where he's about to lose again, and he's really pushing himself as fast as he can, as much as he can, and there's the crash. McQueen has his king moment. He crashes. A legend of the sport crashes once again. This time obviously being his fault, not Chick Hicks's fault. And he crashes, and obviously there's the ambulance, and then we cut away to 4 months later. So that's the opening bit, and it's perfect. Okay, it's very good. All right, there's racing, great introduction to the antagonist Jackson Storm. The crash is the perfect first full circle moment of this film. It's very good. So now we make it to, we're back in Radiator Springs 4 months later. We see McQueen just hidden away in Doc's old garage in Primer. I have a comment about that. They really tried their best to get the most amount of different like toys out of this film. There's about like 6 different versions of Lightning McQueen you see in this film. Just him. Not to mention, you know, they can make toys of Kyle, Bobby, Jackson Storm, Cruz Ramirez. We'll get to her. You know, they really took advantage of the characters and how many different versions of them they can make. I mean, there's even 3 versions of Cruz Ramirez. So, Rebel time. So they really took advantage of the toy market for this one. Back to the story. McQueen's in Primer, literally just grey with a red 95 on the side. Effectively naked. I mean, effectively. And he is shelled away. He's looking through Doc's old stuff, and he finds the old tape of him about to win before he crashes and whatnot. And you know, so a whole sad moment. Then Sally walks in and basically, with her lawyerly presence and lawyerly skilled persuasion, manages to convince Lightning to not give up and to start getting ready to race again. We then move to him on a call with the Rusty's owner, Rusty and Dusty, who tell him they've sold. They told him to go down to the Rusty's Racing Center, this brand new top of the line facility, and he makes his way into Mac and gets there, and then obviously there's a discovery that there's no way Rusty and Dusty did this themselves. Okay. There's no way oh goddamn light. It's gonna be a running gag at this point. There's no way Rusty and Dusty did this themselves, so they obviously sold Rusty's to billionaire Eastern European mudflap king, Mr. Sterling. He's a billionaire, I guess. I mean, he's also apparently an avid Lightning McQueen fan. I don't know. Anyway, you know, they sold him. He built this amazing Rusty's Racing Center. It looks great, obviously. There's the whole Lightning memorabilia, and there's a Doc Hudson section in that whole thing as well. So, up to this point, the film has done everything right. So let's get to my first nitpick of this film. He meets Cruz Ramirez, who's a trainer at the Rusty's Racing Center. She's training the next generation cars. There's a few next generation cars. You see them. They're grayed out for now. They put Lightning in this futuristic electronic suit where they can track his vitals and speed and stuff. And we get to the first bit of the film where Cruz Ramirez basically has to train Lightning. Now, she effectively doesn't take Lightning serious because he's old. And there's this very cringe and just hard to look at training montage of them dancing and him being hung to get oil into places it's not been in a long time, and there's a drip pan and everything. It overdoes its welcome, and it's one of my few nitpicks of this film. It could have done without it. We could have done without it, to be honest. Lightning obviously is then done with this, and he just gets onto the simulator, and he fucks it up. Yep, he doesn't really know how to use it, and bang, he breaks the multi-million-dollar future of the sport, top of the line racing simulator he breaks it. So we then make it to the point where Sterling decides he doesn't want to race McQueen, and he basically shows him his future of, you know, he can just be merchandised to living hell, and, you know, they can make a lot of money, and he can just put anyone else in, and Lightning McQueen can be done and retire with a good legacy. Lightning doesn't want that, and he basically manages to convince Sterling to give him one race in the first race of the season in Florida. He wins. If Lightning wins, he decides when he's done. If he doesn't, he'll have to retire and go through with Sterling's massive merchandising plan. So there's the setup of what will be the final act of the film. We then get basically him wanting to train outside, so Cruz is outside. She brings a treadmill for no good reason, because then he basically wastes a day on Fireball Beach just trying to drive straight, while Cruz Ramirez tries to keep up with him, but she's a young car. She doesn't know how to drive on sand, so they waste a day trying to basically get her to actually keep up with him on sand. So after wasting a day, he remembers there's Thunder Hollow nearby, which was a good old dirt track, so they go there. Here comes the next bit of them trying to get the most toys out of this film as possible. Chester Whipplefilter. Who is that, you may ask? He's on the screen right now, probably. It's Lightning McQueen, covered in dirt with red number 15 written on him, which is basically his disguise, so he doesn't get recognized at Thunder Hollow. I really meant it when they really squeezed the milk the living shit out of this thing to get toys out of it, alright? I mean, look at him. Anyway, so he's at Thunder Hollow. He's ready for a race before they announce it's the Crazy 8, and they fucked up, basically. Cruz gets entered with him with the with a spray painted number 20 written on her, and they realize, this is a demolition derby. Now, nitpick number 2. Here we go. This bit of the film is okay. I mean, it's cars. It's a kids' film at the end of the day. Even the first one had its goofy moments, so you can't really knock it for this. And it's not as hard to look at as that training bit that I already talked about. It's okay. It's there. Yay. What the hell did I do? Huh? What? Okay, whatever, it's okay. So they make it to the Demolition Derby. There's Miss Fritter, which is the school bus and the Demolition Derby champ. Basically ends up with her in the sign. Lightning McQueen stuck, which means Cruz Ramirez is the winner. Or Francis Beltline. That was her disguised name. But Francis Beltline doesn't realize she ends up almost crashing into a water truck that's on the field, trying to keep the track clean, and ends up flipping over and a bunch of water shoots out onto, conveniently, Chester Whipplefilter. He gets shot with a bunch of water, the dirt rubs off, and guess who is revealed? Lightning McQueen at Thunder Hollow. Becomes a big story in the news. And Sterling ends up doing a PR thing where he's like, he's just taking an interesting approach for training for this one. I don't know why you'd go to the Motion Derby to train, but we move. All of this, obviously, he's wasted about a good amount of time by this point. He ends up having an argument with Cruz Ramirez before realizing he should go to Thomasville, also known as the hometown of the fabulous Hudson Hornet. He ends up managing to pick up Cruz again with another cringe dance thing, but whatever. I mean, it's so cringe even Cruz tells him to stop. But that was the point. It got her in the car. And they're on their way to Thomasville. So they make it to Thomasville. They're racing on the track there. Very cool moment before being interrupted by Smokey. Now, who's Smokey, you may ask? It's a new character. Technically no, but it's a new character because it's the first time we're seeing him, the first time they're basically mentioning him in this trilogy. He was the Fabulous Hudson Hornet's crew chief. So he ends up taking Lightning McQueen to see a bunch of legendary racers. There's pictures of them all over the screen probably. And basically ends up showing Lightning this girl, basically ends up telling Lightning the story of when the rookie came along and he was trying to ram HUD onto the wall, and then there's a scene, I don't know why I'm doing this with my hands, HUD never touched any wall unless he wanted to, so he ends up pushing off the wall, flipping over and landing and winning the race. Keep that in mind. Okay, so now they train in Thomasville, there's this whole training montage, and we make it to Florida. The final race. Lightning McQueen misqualifying, so he starts from the back, very tough ass to win. And he races, he does fine for a while. Then there's this whole argument with Sterling about telling Cruz to go back to their training center because she's just a trainer. The whole argument earlier where she was like, ask me if I wanted to be a trainer, McQueen. He asked her, she's like, no! I've obviously wanted to be a racer, but I had my chance and I missed. I didn't take it. There's that whole cliche thing, which then leads McQueen to when there's a big yellow flag to pit and basically say, no tires for me, for her. What? So, Ramon paints a quick 95 on her, they get the tires on and she goes. Because the rule states the number has to be out there, it doesn't matter who's driving it. So, she's out there with the 95 now, at the back of the field, and after some tense moments, and Smokey basically giving up being her crew chief and Lightning McQueen takes over, she makes it to the end, to the final lap where she's drafting Jackson Storm. Yes, she made it all the way up to the field, and she's right behind Jackson Storm, and then manages to hit the Doc Hudson move, the flip, and she wins. She gets signed by Dynaco, and the rest is effectively history. Lightning McQueen completes his full circle arc. He started as the cocky rookie racer, and now he is the fabulous Lightning McQueen. That's another toy opportunity there. And is now a crew chief. Come full circle. This film, that's basically, I've told you the whole film. You really don't need to watch it now, but you know, you can watch it for yourself. This one I can recommend. It's actually not bad. It's better than I remembered it. This film is not bad at all. It's worth the watch, and oh my fucking god, you piece of shit! You can't even see me shake the living shit out of the monitor. By the way, come back, please, thank you. It's worth the. I tilted my monitor. Oh god. The hell am I doing? Leave the monitor. It's worth the watch, and it ends up the trilogy in a satisfying way, and it's the right way, in my opinion. If there was a normal second film, it would have completed the trilogy perfectly and been a perfect three-parter, but the second film was a spy thriller, so that was never gonna happen. But worth the watch, great ending to the trilogy, and that was the Cars 3-parter. Lee thought that was the end of the Cars 3-parter, but he was wrong. Oh yeah, by the way, Cars 3 gets a 7 out of 10 on the Lee rating scale. Yes, I forgot it again. Alright, bye bye, toodaloo.